Love me as you've never loved anyone. Love me.
News from Maoli, Formosa. To start off the new millennium, County Magistrate Fu Su Peng presented members of Supreme Master Qinghai International Association with an award in recognition of their dedicated environmental work in Formosa's northern county of Formosa.
News from Hollywood. At the concert One World of Peace Through Music, one of the greatest stars who performed as a tribute to Supreme Master Qinghai was Oscar and Emmy Award-winning composer-conductor Bill Conti. Recently, Mr. Conte reserved some time from his busy film scoring to meet with Supreme Master Qinghai International Association members and shared his thoughts about the One World of Peace Through Music concert, as well as sent his best regards to Supreme Master Qinghai. Please stay tuned for this interview in the upcoming entertainment segment of today's program. With the success of the 18-country European lecture tour in May and June of 1999, followed by the Middle East and Africa tour in November and December, Supreme Master Qinghai was once again invited on the Ocean of Love lecture tour to Oceania and Asia in the countries of New Zealand, Sri Lanka, Malaysia, Nepal, Hong Kong, the Philippines, Taiwan, Japan, and Korea in April and May of 2000. Touched by the compassion and love from Supreme Master Qinghai, tens of thousands of truth seekers warmly welcomed her to their country to share the Kuan Yin method. Millions of people have sincerely accepted the precious gift of the Kuan Yin method, enriching their lives with the blessings from the Most High. The Philippines is the only Christian country in Asia. Over 90% of the population claim to follow Christian faiths. The great majority of the Philippine population is bound together by common values and a common religion. Philippine society is characterized by many positive traits. Among these are strong religious faith, respect for authority, and high regard for amor proprio, and smooth interpersonal relationships. Strong personal faith enables Filipinos to face great difficulties and unpredictable risks in the assurance that God will take care of things. It is because of their strong faith in God that tens of thousands of Filipinos have warmly accepted Supreme Master Qinghai into their hearts with her noble teachings of the Kuan Yin method and her compassionate heart. Through the years, Supreme Master Qinghai has contributed hundreds of thousands of dollars to this country to aid the less fortunate, including victims of floods, drought, and the catastrophic volcanic eruptions of Mount Pinatubo in 1991. Furthermore, in 1991, 1992, and 1994, Supreme Master Qinghai personally visited the Alakis refugees in the Philippines and extended her generosity to them as well, with relief items and financial aid. Supreme Master Qinghai was welcomed by government officials, including Filipino President Aquino, Vice President Salvador Laurel, former First Lady Imelda Marcos. During her visits, members of the broadcasting as well as print media continuously requested to interview Supreme Master Qinghai to share her wisdom. On May 3, 2000, Supreme Master Qinghai's return to the Philippines was a great cause for celebration, as those Filipinos thirsting for the truth and knowledge of God excitedly came to attend Supreme Master Qinghai's lecture. We invite you to listen to Supreme Master Qinghai's words of wisdom on the purpose of human life in the lecture entitled Illusion is the Reflection of Reality on May 3, 2000 in Manila, Philippines.
I'm very honored and very, very happy to come back to this wonderful land, especially to the wonderful people that is very difficult for me to forget. Some people you met and you forget. Some people you met, you never forget. The Philippine people make people never forget. Not only myself, the Philippine people abroad also give very, very good name to this nation. I just want you to have this feedback because I travel a lot and I saw many Philippine people abroad and they always give very, very good representation to their country. Now, if we as human beings give also such a good representation about our Father in heaven, then it would be very good for our planet. It's not always that every person can represent God in such a heavenly way. It's not because they don't want to, just because they have forgotten the kingdom of God which is within ourselves. The Bible has mentioned very, very clearly, know you not that you are the temple of God and the Holy Spirit dwells within you. We read the Bible every day. And we heard Jesus say that we are the children of God. It's just that very difficult for us to remember this. In order to remember where we came from, we have to go back there. We have to return step by step, tracing back to the kingdom where we have really the origin of our being. Because we are not really, we are not human. We are not this physical body which is called human. We are from heaven. All of us, even the worst sinners that we think that they are the worst sinners, they are also from heaven. The reason they sin is just because they are frustrated here. In their deepest memory of the subconscious, they remember what heaven is like. They remember the freedom, the abundance, the richness, the mighty power that they have when they were with the Father. And when we came here to this planet, encased in this physical body, we feel very, very restricted. That's why children cry, the babies cry the first moment they came here. If it should be a happy place, they would smile when they were born. It is because when the baby was first born, they were still very much in contact with God's power, very much in contact with the Father in heaven. So when they contact with this very coarse and suffering world, they feel immediate pain. And they cannot bear it, so they cry. And slowly this memory of heaven fades. The older we grow, the memories of our origin will be faded from us. It has the reason, so that we can continue in this physical life without feeling too much homesick. We have to do whatever we do here. So God has arranged that we forget our origin, but only for a while. Up to the age of 4 or 5, the children still remember where they came from, still contact with heaven. That's why they are so pure, so happy. Doesn't matter in which circumstance. Their eyes sparks with love and with the heavenly bliss that we adults have lost. The older we became, the spark in our eyes faded more and more, because we have contacted with this physical world, which is more which is very coarse, which is not refined, which is not blissful compared to where we came from. We came here for different reasons. We came here so that we can know God. Even if our purpose in life is different, our reason to come here is different, the way of living is different, but the only one goal for coming here is so that we can recognize God. It sounds paradox, but it is like that. It has been explained to me. I have seen in the inside vision why it is like that. It is because we have been in heaven with the Father all this eternity. We were one with the Creator. We are with Him, with her all the time. So we cannot know what it is. So we need a reflection of all this glory, the one that is not the real one, so that we can know the real one. Just like we need the mirror to see our true self, our face. The mirror is only an image, just a reflection. It's not real, but because of the mirror, we can know ourselves. Similarly, this world is just an illusion. It's just a mirage, just a reflection of the true world, of Godhood. But we need it so that we do know what God is like. Therefore, the Bible says to us that judge not, because you will be judged. Why should we not judge our brothers and sisters? Because they are God's children also. They are the same essence as God. We are all children of God. So no matter what He does, He is God inside. He has God inside Him. And He came here to do this and that and others in order for Him to know God. The way we have chosen so that we can know God is different. Some choose a very moral way so they get to know God quicker. Some choose a longer and harder way by being less moral, by being less noble, less good, so that he can learn to know God in a more intense way. But of course, in our human standard, we have value good and bad, moral and immoral. So therefore we have judgment. We have come to make a definition about good and bad, evil, and so forth. But in the eyes of our Father, we are all equal, because everything here is an illusion anyway. Bad or good is not real. It's just a reflection so that we know God in the totality of it. The reason why we are unhappy, no matter how much money we have, no matter how high a position we have in the society, because we have forgotten this true kingdom of God. The Bible told us, Jesus told us, don't lay our treasure on this world, in this world, but our true treasure is in heaven. That's what He meant. We must see the treasure inside. Then our life become better and better all the time. Even outside, the treasure from inside will manifest also and make us a different person. Even the outlook different, the thinking different, the health different, the work efficiency different, the intelligence become different. The whole outlook inside out become different. I look different today than maybe 15 years ago, before enlightenment. That is for sure. I know this from personal experience. Everything I have today is because of the kingdom of God gives me. If as a human being, I can never accomplish anything. I was nobody until God has graced my soul with His own love and knowledge. Until God has awakened Himself within myself and shown me that He's there. That I can always love Him, rely on Him, call on Him. He told me that He's the Supreme Master. And Qinghai means the ocean of love. It's not my physical name. It is the name of our Father. After you become one with God again, you remember yourself again. You be loved without loving. You give without knowing. You be compassionate without thinking that you are even compassionate. Because God will do everything. We remember God, and God will do everything. And the ego will go, the mind will die. Only God takes charge of everything in our daily life. Every activity, every thought, every word that we've spoken will be just from heaven. And that's how we become one with heaven again. And that's the purpose for us to come here.
In our program today, we would like to introduce to you Mr. Bill Conti, one of Hollywood's most famed composers and conductors. Bill Conti won the Oscar for the Best Original Score for The Right Stuff and 4 Emmy Awards. His compositions are well known throughout the world and have sold over 8 million copies. Bill Conti has acted as the orchestra music director for the Academy Awards show for 14 years. He has composed and arranged music for the Olympics and for more than 50 television shows, including ABC's Good Morning America, Dynasty, Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous, Inside Edition, and many others. He has arranged and conducted music for more than 40 orchestras, both national and international. Bill Conti has scored music for over 100 films, including the Oscar-winning Rocky, the Karate Kid movies, James Bond, For Your Eyes Only, Private Benjamin, The Adventures of Huck Finn, and most recently, The Thomas Crown Affair. Bill Conti is honored with a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame for his contribution and achievements in music. Mr. Conti graduated with a bachelor and master's degree at the nation's top music school, Juilliard School of Music in New York. He was also presented with a doctoral degree in music at his alma mater. In addition to his distinguished career and musical achievements at the benefit concert One World of Peace Through Music, Mr. Conti performed and arranged music for the song I Will Forever Love You as a tribute to the songwriter herself, Supreme Master Ching Hai. Reflecting upon his performance at One World of Peace Through Music, Mr. Conti recently shared with the association members his thoughts of the concert and wished to express his warmest wishes to Supreme Master Ching Hai. Following is an excerpt from this interview with Oscar and Emmy Award-winning composer Bill Conti. So we'd like to know more about your experience of the One World of Peace through music concert.
Well, it was a wonderful experience, of course, and it was a memorable night. It really was. I've met people since then who were in the audience who stopped me and said, I was there that night, and we had a good time. We had a wonderful time. So more than one person has mentioned that to me, which was always good to hear. Well, I love her poetry, and the very little that I know of her music I enjoyed, because I did work with one piece and prepare for the concert. It would be nice to do music and poetry in one place at one time, like on a CD or in a concert. I think it's worthy of that. It just, I think the chemistry and the harmonies have to be right for something like that to come together, but it would be very exciting to do.
At the end of the event, you dedicated a song to Supreme Master and performed it. How was that, performing a piece with the person in the audience there with you?
Well, it was special. It made it special because it was thought about with that person in mind. And sometimes when you dedicate a piece, I know that when the person is there, you can actually do your very best to do the best performance of that dedication. And it was exciting.
So that evening, the night that you performed the piece, did it come out like you expected it?
I could feel the audience during the song, and that means that it was successful, as close to the ideal as it possibly could be. With that audience, there had to be 6,000 people, but I know that the Shrine Auditorium seats 6,000 people, and it was more than full. When the audience and the performers become one, it is almost almost nearly divine, where this oneness can actually meet in some, not location place, but in some spiritual place in the middle. Not the performers performing, not the audience receiving, but all of a sudden that contact is made, and it becomes wonderful because it is out there to be received. All you have to do is open up a little bit, and then you will be experiencing a part of that person's soul. It's just there. You're in the presence of a beautiful painting, a creation, something created by someone else. This is insight to not who they are physically, but who they are on this other plane.
Right.
So what makes it magic always is to hear music performed live.
What are you up to?
Well, I've been busy. I have, last week I was in Kansas City with the Kansas City Symphony. I've been with Houston Symphony for 5 concerts, Atlanta. I do many concerts, and I did last year the Thomas Crown Affair, which was a movie, and I'm working on another movie for television now. I remember everyone being on stage, and all the flowers, and all the wonderful people who were there experiencing the end of a concert that went well and was received well, because it seemed like one of those concerts that was so special because everything just went the way it was supposed to, and there was so much love and affection from everyone around, from the audience to everyone working backstage, that it was memorable. It makes those memorable. I think it went very well. But every once in a while, there's one that stands out, and of course that one stood out above many others.
Would you want to share with us once again how you came up with that poetic sound for I Will Forever Love You?
It's all the studying of music to be able to know how to do that. I hope that I adequately put that longing into the music so that everyone in the audience could feel that same thing. What I felt.
Right.
It's all sparked from the words and the music, and you retain that and try to do your best to pass that message on to other people. And I can express it in music, and then you hopefully will feel the same thing, the same way with the song that was written. All those things that she felt when she wrote that come out to everyone. If I could meet or have the pleasure to be with Suma Ching Hai, I would tell her how the experience that I had was so wonderful, and what she's giving to other people is so wonderful, that I would have to ask her to take care of herself, to wish her health and happiness. I know that she has, but to take care that she can continue doing the good work that she's been doing, and to expose herself to as many people as need her exposure. And in her travels, to just fly safe and be very careful and healthful.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Conte,
You're
for
welcome.
being with us. Please enjoy the following excerpt from the Oscar and Emmy Award-winning composer Bill Conte's performance at the concert One World of Peace Through Music, organized by the Supreme Master Ching Hai International Association at the Shrine Auditorium.
Thank you for joining us for today's program, A Journey Through Aesthetic Realms. We wish you and your families a wonderful weekend.
The Music and Poetry Center is in a convenient place for those who wish to learn about Supreme Master Ching Hai's teachings, as well as her artistic works, including poetry, music, artwork, celestial clothing, and jewelry designs, and more. Located in the Asian Village with a pleasant atmosphere and nice location, the Music and Poetry Center is near 99 Ranch Supermarket and across from Phuc Loc Tho Mall. A variety of organic and special teas are available, which have shown to reduce high blood pressure and diabetes. The Music and Poetry Center is located upstairs with a balcony offering a view overlooking the plaza. Come visit the Music and Poetry Center at 9191 Bolsa Avenue, Suite 227228, Westminster, California, 92863. For more information, please call 714-892-3360. 714-892-3360.
Love me as you've never loved anyone. Love me.
News from Korea. Yearly, fellow initiates in Korea organize a cooking festival as an innovative way for fellow initiates to display and improve their cooking talents. The event is usually accompanied by creative dance performances and games for fellow initiates and guests to mingle and enjoy themselves. News from Hollywood. At the concert, One World of Peace Through Music, one of the greatest stars who performed as a tribute to Supreme Master Ching Hai was Oscar and Emmy award-winning composer Fred Karlin. After spending some time in France, Mr. Karlin returned to Hollywood to work on his upcoming film projects. Mr. Karlin reserved some time to meet with Supreme Master Ching Hai International Association members and expressed his thoughts on the music which he composed for the symphonic portrait The Peace Seeker with the poetry of Supreme Master Ching Hai. Mr. Karlin also wished to express to Supreme Master Ching Hai his warmest wishes to her, as well as the great honor he had with collaborating for the One World of Peace Through Music concert. Please stay tuned for this interview in the upcoming entertainment segment of today's program. With the success of the 18-country European lecture tour in May and June of 1999, followed by the Middle East and Africa tour in November and December, Supreme Master Ching Hai was once again invited on the Ocean of Love lecture tour to Oceania and Asia in the countries of New Zealand, Sri Lanka, Malaysia, Nepal, Hong Kong, the Philippines, Taiwan, Japan, and Korea in April and May of 2000. Touched by the compassion and love from Supreme Master Ching Hai, tens of thousands of truth seekers warmly welcomed her to their country to share the Kuan Yin method. Millions of people have sincerely accepted the precious gift of the Kuan Yin method, enriching their lives with the blessings from the Most High. Sri Lanka's historical and cultural heritage covers more than 2,000 years. The island is known as Lanka, the resplendent land, for its natural beauty and wealth. Islamic folklore maintains that Adam and Eve were offered refuge on the island as solace for their expulsion from the Garden of Eden. Asian poets, noting the geographical location of the island and lauding its beauty, called it the pearl upon the brow of India. One major Buddhist event that occurred on Sri Lanka is the legend that the oral teachings of the Buddha, the Tripitaka, were committed to writing for the first time. Furthermore, highly revered relics of the Buddha, his right collarbone, alms bowl, sacred tooth, were placed in the Thuparama Dagoba to be honored and worshipped. According to legend, a branch of the sacred Bodhi tree, under which the Buddha attained enlightenment, was also brought to the island. The tree is said to be the oldest living thing in the world and is an object of great veneration. Thus, the country of Sri Lanka, rich in Buddhist legends and culture, also extended a sincere invitation to Supreme Master Ching Hai on her recent World Lecture Tour to share the truth that the Buddha had once imparted to them. Recognizing the supreme method and experiencing the loving ambience of a living master, the Sri Lankans welcomed Supreme Master Ching Hai with open arms, attentively listening to her words of wisdom as she showed them the way to unite with the Buddha. Please enjoy the following lecture by Supreme Master Ching Hai entitled The Light Keeper on April 29, 2000 in Colombo, Sri Lanka.
We have no choice except to find peace and happiness. There is no other choice better than finding peace and happiness inside, which is our Buddha nature. We can try many ways to live our life. We can try to use violence. We can try to use force. We can try to use unreasonable measure to think that we can get what we want. But finally, we all have to make the great choice, that is to come back to our own self, to our Buddha nature. The way of the Buddha is always the way of peace and love. The way of the saints since time immemorial is always of peace and love. That's our true self. Some people attain peace and love through samadhi, through meditation deeply. Some people attain through deep prayers. When the Buddha came to this world, he came to show us that we are also the Buddha. In the Buddhist Sutra, it is mentioned that enlightenment is like a candle, as like a light which passes from one to another. Hence, we still have the light lighting ceremony. The reason why we have not seen our own Buddha nature because we have not tried. If we sincerely want to try, we will be shown the way. In the Diamond Sutra, it is mentioned that no matter how dark, how long the room has been dark, it takes just 1 second. When the light is there, the whole darkness is gone. Enlightenment is likened to lighten another candle with another already lighted candle. The light that has been passed on from the Buddha has never died. It's just like from one candle goes to the next and the next and the next. It keeps go on forever. And we have to find where it is last lit. Then we can be litten just the same. The light is the essence of our being, is our own Buddha nature. And the one who is enlightened, we call them the enlightened ones, the Buddha. Different religions point to this Buddha nature by different names. It is because due to the different language, different expression of the different countries where the light has been lighted. So sometimes we misunderstand each other about religious terminologies, but they are only just empty words. For example, in India, we call the enlightened one the Buddha. In Sri Lanka, same. So the Buddha, it means enlightened one in English. And in Hebrew, they call it Christ. The Buddha nature become Christ power in English, in Hebrew. In Sri Lanka, we call the teacher guru. And in English, it's called teacher. And many different languages is different terminology. It's the same person. But all the teachers, all the gurus, doesn't matter where he was born, he was the light keeper for the next to come. Everyone will come to that person to light himself, like many candles become lightened with one already lighted candle. Because the Buddha's light, the universal light, never die out. The light keep being upheld in some different places. One day India, next generation maybe Sri Lanka, and the next decade maybe in Germany, and the next will be in Jerusalem, etc., etc. It has to circulate so that the whole world will know the light. It cannot be kept in one country or in one temple all the time, because the whole world has to know the light. It's like water, it's like rains, it has to be in different places at different times to bless the whole beings of this planet. So it doesn't matter where the light is kept at present. If we want our light to be lighted, we should go there. Everyone wants to know what the Buddha nature is. Everyone wants to know what God is. The scripture of all good religions has mentioned where to find Buddha nature, where to find God. That is within ourselves. The Buddha resides in this temple. God resides in this church. That's why we have nothing inside but Buddha nature, nothing but God. So we are truly Buddhas. We are truly God's children. But there is one thing that separates us from ourselves, from our own Buddha nature, from our own godliness. That is the ego. That is the mind. Because the mind is just like a machine. It's like a computer. It records all kinds of things and it broadcasts the same thing out again. But the mind can only understand written language, can only record the worldly informations, and cannot understand about Buddha nature. Therefore, in order to find our own true nature, we have to bypass the mind or go through the mind, but not dwell in the mind, have to go through. If we use the mind, we will be only running around in worldly language, worldly knowledge, worldly habit, and worldly custom. The problems of us is because we keep listening to the mind, all the information of the world and all the habits we collect, that we forget where to look for our own true Buddha nature, our own wisdom, our godly quality. So the moment that we forget the mind, forget all the worldly burdens and language and problems and preconceived ideas, we will find the Buddha nature. I will show you how. And when I show you how, it's not by talking to you that you know. It's in silence showing, from the Buddha to the Buddha, from Buddha nature to Buddha nature. And at that instant, if you really concentrate well, you will see the Buddha nature right away, which is the light, which is the heavenly teaching, the Buddha's teaching without language, and you will be enlightened immediately. Not only we see the light, which is our own nature, we also hear the teaching, our own nature, which Buddha mentioned in the Surangama Sutra, that all the Buddhas rely on this sound stream, on this inside knowledge, inside teaching, to come down to teach the sentient beings. And all the sentient beings have to rely on this holy sound, holy vibration, holy teaching, the inside teaching, to go back to the Buddha's land. We hear inside without the ears, with seeing without the eyes. That is a true knowledge. You have to experience your own greatness, your own Buddha nature, because these things cannot be talked about, cannot be explained in any language at all. It's just like I'm drinking water and I talk about water. It's cool, it's refreshing, it's quench your thirst, but you must also drink it in order to understand. You drink more, you drink more, you drink less, it depends on your thirst. But you have to drink. And if you're not thirsty, of course you don't drink. Then you don't know what I'm talking about. But anyway, I think you do. You remember. Because everything I said today is nothing new. Our souls understand. Our Buddha nature understand. Even if we don't drink, we remember the taste of water, because all of us have drunk water one time or another. It's just that we have forgotten. Long time we did not drink. Just like Buddha nature, we have ignored it, we have neglected for so long that we did not even dream of becoming Buddha. We think we are just a very lowly human beings. In fact, the one who lives in this temple is Buddha. There's only Buddha lives in here, no one else. That's why the Buddha say you have to love everyone and respect everyone, because everyone is truly Buddha, whether he knows it or not. Only the Buddha can see that. In order to truly love everyone, we must also become Buddha, or partially Buddha first. Only when we see truly inside that we have Buddha nature, then we can know, we can remember that we are Buddha. Doesn't matter how long I sit here and tell you and talk to you, tell you are Buddha, you are Buddha, you are Buddha, you still don't see Buddha nowhere. I'm going to show you. Only the direct recognition of Buddha nature can make us enlightened. Therefore, in order to understand the Buddha's teaching, we must also try to become a Buddha. If all the people who are following any religion become like the teacher, become like Christ, become like Buddha, then we have never any war between religion even. Everything that is noble, holy, powerful, that is the Buddha nature. That is the light of the whole universe.
In our program today, we would like to introduce to you Mr. Fred Karlin, an Oscar and Emmy-winning composer who has scored over 150 motion pictures and television projects. Nominated 4 times for the Academy Award, he won the Oscar for the Best Song for his composition, For All We Know, in the motion picture Lovers and Other Strangers, starring Diane Keaton. For All We Know was recorded by the Carpenters and received a gold record. Fred Karlin also received a Grammy nomination for Best Soundtrack Recording for his score of The Sterile Cuckoo, featuring the music from his Oscar-nominated song, Come Saturday Morning, sung by distinguished actress-singer Liza Minnelli. In addition, Mr. Karlin received 12 Emmy nominations and won an Emmy for Best Original Score for the television landmark The Autobiography of Miss Jane Pittman, starring famed actress Cicely Tyson. Among other movies he scored includes Yours, Mine, and Ours, starring Lucille Ball and Henry Fonda, Michael Crichton's Westworld, Loving Couples, starring Shirley MacLaine and Susan Sarandon, Future World, starring Yul Brynner, and The Stalking Moon, starring Gregory Peck, and many others. As an author, Mr. Karlin's books, Listening to Movies, The Film Lover's Guide to Film Music, and On the Track, A Guide to Contemporary Film Scoring, are used by film composers and universities worldwide. In 1997, he received the President's Award from the American Society of Composers, authors, and publishers for his work with the prestigious ASCAP, Fred Karlin Film Scoring Workshop. In addition to his distinguished career and musical achievements, for the benefit concert One World of Peace Through Music, Mr. Karlin composed music to Supreme Master Ching Hai's poetry in an impressive 45-minute symphonic portrait entitled The Peace Seeker. Reflecting upon his performance at One World of Peace Through Music, Mr. Karlin recently shared with association members his thoughts of the concert and wished to express his best regards to Supreme Master Ching Hai. Following is an excerpt from this interview with Oscar and Emmy Award-winning composer Fred Karlin.
May each one find his peace.
So let's talk about the extraordinary benefit concert, One World of Peace Through Music. How did the Peace Seeker come about?
When I got the second notebook of poems, the poem that leaped out at me was a longer work called Silent Tears. And in that work, if you'll forgive me for doing this, I really, because we're talking about her poetry and it's so wonderful, and also it had such a bearing on the concert and on my piece, just to read a few lines from one of the poems within Silent Tears. This is the first thing you hear in my piece. You hear an actor come on stage and he says, "Once upon a time, a true peace lover wandered around the many worlds in search of eternal happiness. She walked over the face of the earth, the suns, the moons, and the clouds. At last she found that it was all the while hidden in her very heart." And I thought right away, oh, well, this is wonderful, because there's a major theme here. You know, what we're all looking for is right there inside us. And then I realized many of her poems talked in very strong metaphorical language about a person trying to reach their inner self.
So basically, when you received all the poetry, you went through it and you chose the ones that you felt that you wanted to work with, that brought across the message that you wanted
Yes,
to.
I had to figure out what a message would be that would be consistent with her philosophy and mine. It was about 8 months, and it was the most difficult time was the first 2 months working out the script, the libretto, as it were, and writing it and orchestrating it. It was wonderful. I loved it. It got me very deeply into my music, and since I do so many different things, it was particularly exciting for me to be able to stretch out and spend that kind of time on something that was so art-oriented and so message-oriented. I find her an extraordinary person. She, the kind of time and love that she gives for all of her humanitarian efforts and her artistic efforts is really remarkable and unusual. Not that many people have that combination of instincts and impulses that she does. And the poems continued to get deeper as I worked with them. They not only remained deep, but they continued to get more multidimensional. I just found myself feeling privileged to be able to work with her through these poems. I didn't get to collaborate with her, but I felt like it was a true collaboration.
Are you satisfied with the Peace Seeker and how it came out?
Yes, very much so. Of course, you always want to do the next piece, and you know, what it did for me was to make me realize that this kind of work must be a part of my life from now on, because it's a way that I can give, just as when I teach and write my books. I feel like I'm really contributing to the lives of other people, and of course music can do that too. Look how we all respond to Beethoven's Ninth so many decades later.
What's it like at the moment when the audience has applauded and finished the piece? What's that like?
Well, it is very exciting, but you know, after a 40-minute performance, there are so many other emotions that flood through you. I had a lot of pride for all the people who performed with me. I just thought they all did so well. And that's a heavy emotion. I mean, I felt a lot, you know. And then, you know, Supreme Master was there, and that was, as I say, an honor. And I could see her from where we were, and it seemed like she was enjoying this. She was bouncing up and down during the heavy rock piece, and that pleased me a lot, because after all, she wrote the poems, and you know, and was a collaborator, even though we weren't working together, and so you obviously want that person to be happy too, and it seemed like she was. So all these things were going on at the same time. It was very nice.
Yeah. How do you feel about Supreme Master's poetry?
I think she's very good, and these poems all seem to be written in the early to mid 70s, as near as I could guess, but that may not be so. I never saw any dates on any of them, or very few of them. There were a few that had those dates. And so if that's so, I don't know what she would write now, but I know it would be different because, whatever it is, because they were very personal. And a lot of them, these poems that I described that discuss the internal struggle and how difficult it is to come to one with the Supreme Being above who's created everything, and with the Supreme Being inside each of us. That must have been a personal trial that she was going through at that time. These are very emotional and very personal poems, and very fine for that reason. So I'm interested in seeing what she would do now, because the subject would be different. She's passed through those tests, and I think they'd be equally fascinating. They'd be different. I'd like to thank her for everything involved with the concert, and her work, her worldwide work, which is ongoing and which does so much for so many people. As I just said, I think that she's unique and remarkable and has so much to give, which she is giving. Some people have a lot to give and they don't. And others try, but they don't have a lot to give, and that's very admirable. But she has both, and that's very unique. And the fact that she is able to do that is a great gift to me and to everybody. I'm grateful.
Please enjoy the following excerpt from the symphonic portrait, The Peace Seeker, with Supreme Master Ching Hai's poetry set to music by Oscar and Emmy Award-winning composer Fred Karlin from the concert One World of Peace Through Music, organized by the Supreme Master Ching Hai International Association at the Shrine Auditorium.
There were times tomorrow wouldn't arrive. I waited all night feeling very, very tired. My soul was immersed in an endless nightmare, struggling so hard to be free from the sea of misery. There were times the sun would not rise. I prayed in vain for the future to arrive. Like in a coma, I lay in the long darkness, praying for tomorrow to quickly come by. Like a bird in the middle of a stormy sky, like a hawk getting ready to die, like a child reaching out with an ugly cry. Immense oceans couldn't contain melancholy.
Thank you for joining us for today's program, A Journey Through Aesthetic Realms. We wish you and your families a wonderful weekend.
To lead a peaceful and happy life, to have a noble path leading to enlightenment, we cordially invite you to the Music and Poetry Center, where there is plenty of the spiritual works of Supreme Master Ching Hai to help you rediscover your true self. For more information, please call 714-892-3360